Hey guys, Tim here at JK Boots, and today we're gonna go through all the boots that I personally own and the ones that I've been wearing all these years. We're gonna go through each pair, how they fit me, what they are, and what I've been doing in them all these years. So let's check it out. So starting with the first pair of boots that I ever had made for me, these are the original, this is the first pair of boots I ever had. My dad made these for me when I was just getting out of 8th grade, like halfway through 8th grade probably, so I was like, 13 or 14. And he made these for me completely. I didn't know really how to make boots yet at that time, and he did them from start to finish. He sewed them. Actually, I think my mom sewed the uppers. And then my dad lasted them, did everything else, cut them out by hand, everything. And this was the very first pair. So 8-inch, black smooth. And yeah, I mean, they were amazing. I wore them for a long time. I trashed the crap out of them, as you can see. I never resold them, not one time since the original soles. And they were built, I think it was a 12E 55 last. And that's a lot bigger than what I wear now, but my dad built them larger with just the anticipation that I was gonna keep growing. And so just in case, because he didn't want me to outgrow them. But I peaked my foot growth, around like 8th or 9th grade or whatever. So I think, at the time, yeah, I mean, you can see how the toes have curled up kind of a lot. They were like a little bit long for me, but ultimately, I still wore them. Like I rocked them a lot. And I wore them probably every day for on and off, every day for probably around 2 or so years. And I had made other boots in between, but then I just kept coming back to these because they were so comfortable. Even though they were a little bit too big or long, they just felt so good. They were so well broken in. They were so comfortable. And I mean, I learned to work in these and, went to work, went to school in these, learned how to make boots in these boots. And yeah, I mean, very simple, just 100 log sole, regular heel, smooth 8-inch top. They fit, pretty good, I thought, and, good arch support, super comfy. And I mean, I retired them, a few years ago just because at that point I had so many boots, just was wearing different things, but these were awesome. And these are gonna go in a display case as the first pair of boots that I ever had that my dad, John Codsey, VJK, made for me. Up next are these 6-inch champs, 6-inch beauties. So originally, I had made these to look like this. They had a heel and a protect sole, and they were supposed to be kind of dressy, going to church boots. But very quickly, I wore through that half protect sole and resold them to have that wedge sole on there. And actually, these boots have been resold 3 times. So they had the original, half sole and heel. Then I wore through that. Then I put on a fresh set of Christie wedge soles, and then I wore through them, and then I put another set of Christie wedge soles, and that's these ones here. And this was, I don't know if it was exactly my second pair, but it was kind of after that first pair. And like I said, I originally made them with the intention of kind of being good going out boots and stuff, and that's why they're 6-inch. And that first pair being 8-inch, not that there was anything wrong with that, but I just kind of didn't need that. I liked the 6-inch boot. I liked it around my ankle. It felt a little bit more mobile, and I was ultimately very mobile in the shop, running around, doing this, doing that. And so it just felt a little bit better on my feet. So that's why I went with that. And these ones were kind of like a test. Every pair that I have kind of a bit of a funny story. And this was kind of one of those funny stories. We were messing around and kind of testing this different kind of tongue, that would open up wide, that wasn't gusseted, that would literally open, all the way at the ball of the feet. That's what we did. And it was cool. It was good. I liked it. This leather, this is not a work leather. This is a dressy, almost Chrome Excel-ish type leather. And I totally did not use them for what they were intended for. I mean, I rode my motorcycle in these. I did farm work in these. I would work in the forest in these. I took these on trips and hiked mountains in them just because they were so comfortable and so broken in. I did crazy things in these boots that they were not originally intended for. And they held up really, really well. You can even see a bunch of tacks and nails in the soles. That's from walking around the shop and picking up stuff in the wedge sole boots. And that's just funny because I was, during the season, I think while I was wearing these is when we were starting to get a little bit busier, and I was already better at making boots. So I was full-time, lasting, bottoming all the time, all day, every day. And so in this pair of boots, this would be the same pair of boots that I would go up front to our sales floor, sell a pair of boots, take measurements off a guy, and then walk back into the shop and go make them. And so I was wearing these boots during that season of time. And yeah, I mean, they've held up extremely well. Same thing, I think my mom sewed these too, but I think I actually lasted these already. And Yeah, I definitely resold them a few times for sure. That was my work. I stitched through these. So yeah, I mean, held up extremely well, totally just wore down the outer edges. At this point, this would be a rebuild moment, you know, because the outer edges of the sole are so worn down and chopped down. There's nothing left to stitch. I couldn't stitch over that if I wanted to. And the sizing on these, again, is kind of funny. This is an 11D on the 55 last. So originally started out with 12. You know, wore those. My dad anticipated that my foot was going to grow to a 12. It did not, you know, and so I'm closer to like an 11, like a 10 and a half. Made these in the 11D 55. Same thing, fit great. Like, you know, even though it's a full number off, like I made both of them work, you know, and so that's just kind of a funny sizing thing, how we get sizing sometimes so caught up in our brains, but really it's not that, you know, dire of a thing. So that's that pair. Great season, great boots. These are going to go in display case too. Okay, next up are these guys. These are actually really cool. So let me talk you through the story of these ones. You know, a while back, you know, just kind of in our industry, the boot making industry, there was kind of this move of kind of more the dressy fashion stuff. And, you know, I was just kind of like wanted to just mess around and just kind of play around, make something interesting, make something different. And we've just always been so focused and geared, work boots, fire boots and stuff, that we just haven't really delved too much into the fashion things. Not because we can't, but just because we're so busy with the work and fire stuff, and that's our main focus. And I made these years ago. And this was kind of a fun little experiment that we did with my dad, just to kind of mess around. But what this is, so this is a 6-inch, it's a lace to toe, with a toe cap, okay? And the lace to toe is a little bit modified. It's brought back a little bit to have room for that toe cap. There's a celastic toe inside to keep the shape. And then one of the cool things we did here is, I don't know if you can see this in the shot, but the pattern of the upper. I don't have a term for it or an exact title, but it's kind of like a beveled upper. And so instead of the upper coming straight up and being like a square, we actually bevel it off. And so it gives it kind of this like sleek S look. And it's just really cool. It looks really, really cool. It looks really sharp. It's just different. You know, it's like this cool thing. And on your feet, these things look amazing. They just hold this, and this toe shape is not the 55. It's actually more of a boxy, kind of like a logger toe shape. And when I just have these on my feet, they just look so uniform, and they pop. And they were supposed to be kept, again, for really dressy things, and I didn't really do that. I actually wore them for work stuff just because they felt so nice, which, again, I was not supposed to do. But even the half sole slip on here, this is a special half sole from Italy. I did a special stained base on here as a taller base with a thinner little rubber cap, just to kind of give it that pop. And, you know, 6 eyelets with a hook on the top. So it was just kind of different. The backstay is one piece with the pull loop. You know, so it was kind of like a different set. And, you know, there's no reason why we probably won't bring this back. We probably will sometime, some way. And the uppers are lined. You know, we lined the whole boot with elk lining on the inside. So it was just like a really special set that my dad and I kind of designed together. I kind of wear them from time to time. Haven't really worn them too much. I think the reason was just because I had other boots that were a little more dirty and that I just kind of were so broken in, and I kind of kept putting these aside. You know, like I'll wear them like out or something, and I just never did that, which I should bring them back into rotation. But these are actually an 11 double, no, they're an 11 double E in the smoke jumper last. And again, that's a little bit, you know, maybe a slightly wider than what I was used to at the time. Now I'm wearing even wider than that. But like, yeah, it was fine. You know, I put them on, thicker sock, it was good to go. And arch felt good, all that stuff. So that was kind of interesting. Third set coming down the line, that was a little bit different sizing, different even last, and still like they felt good. They conformed, they broke in. So that's kind of something interesting there to see. But that's those. Okay. Up next, Bison forefronts. This was made not super long ago, probably about 2.5 years ago-ish. And this was like our first trial run with Bison. And so when we first got that leather in, I right away wanted to test it out. So we made a pair right away for me from the Bison leather. And I mean, wow, they just turned out so cool. And I wore them actually a lot. They look clean, but at this point, I was doing, you know, a lot more inside office work, so that's why they're a little cleaner. But I wore them a lot. They really were awesome. And super quick break-in, basically no break-in. I remember putting them on and it was like, wow, they feel already like conformed and soft, like around my ankle right away. And I absolutely love that. And I actually took these to Glacier Park in Montana and actually hiked all around Flathead Lake and up Glacier Peak in Montana in these boots. And everybody else was huffing and puffing in my group and were complaining about their feet, and I was not. Okay, and so that's a testament to JK quality. But these were awesome. I absolutely loved them, and I kind of did some funny stuff here. I did beige thread instead of classic black thread, so they kind of pop a little bit more. I did that pull loop on there, and when we were putting these together and stitching them, I just decided to do no thread through the bottom, just because I wanted to see how the wedge sole would hold up with no stitching. Did extremely well. I mean, literally no delamination anywhere around the boot. So really happy with this one. And I also saw a kind of a cool twist I did. I tried a steel shank in these as opposed to like a regular leather shank, just because I wanted to see what it feels like. It is a little more rigid and stiff. And so for that reason, I'm happy that we have our leather shank, because it's a lot more conforming to your foot. I definitely felt a difference compared to like the regular leather shank boots. So definitely it's nice to have that leather shank in there, because like it breaks into your foot. The steel is just kind of really like pounding. But you know, pretty much it's not too crazy of a difference, but I think the leather is better. And yeah, this was the test for me that confirmed that Bison was legit. And ever since we've released it, people absolutely love it. We've, you know, I don't know if we can hold on to enough Bison leather, and it's just awesome. I mean, it kept its form, it kept its shape. They feel so good. Definitely feel a little bit more of the weight, but there's no really way around that. It is a heavier, thicker leather, so really happy with these ones. These were good boots. Okay. These ones are pretty cool. This is a little trial pair again that we did. I always get all the trial boots. This is a trial pair that we did that we wanted to do zippers. And zippers on the side, okay, the legit good way. And still working on this and trying to make it as good as possible, but turned out really, really good. This is a pair that I wanted that would kind of be the same thing, like a dress casual set, you know, ride the motorcycle, go to church, you know, go do your errands, whatever, go on a date. This was that design. Really like them. This leather is like more of a dressy 5 to 6 ounce leather. It's actually, I think it's the name of it is Peanut, and turned out really, really good. I mean, it, you know, patina is really nice. Really happy with this. I ended up going with this, you know, half sole cap design, and you know, just one line of stitching through, beige thread all the way around, antique hardware. You know, that gusseted style tongue that we always like to do, and still a pull loop on there. And I just kind of wanted to test these out, see how they would be, see how it would be with a zipper, see how it would be practically using them, pulling them off, putting them on, all that stuff. And I mean, really happy with this. Definitely some things with the zipper design that we kind of need to clean up, and we're doing. But same, I mean, you know, like really good arch support, comfy. This was on the 55 last. And so it felt good, it felt nice. The 55 last gives it a little bit more of a semi-pointed look. So it's kind of dressier, more casual. But, you know, haven't worn these too much, but the time that I did wear them, I did like them. Ultimately, I just have a lot of boots that I think are like super broken in that are really comfortable to me, and I, you know, put them on in the morning. That's why these have been a little bit more neglected, but I will come back to these. I did not forget about you. They are really nice. So yeah, that's those. Okay, these ones are really special. So this is the first pair of 300s that we ever made. So, you know, the story there, you know, for a long time, I mean, we've been wanting to bring a boot out that was more affordable. And Will, me, and my dad, we were racking our brains how to do that, what that would look like, how to make it, leather, all this stuff. And this was the first mock-up pair that we made. And my dad kind of put these together for me. He actually did make them for me. And you know, we were just running so many different ideas through our brain, and this was kind of the first thing that we made. So this is the same leather that the black is available in now. So it's that about 5-ish ounce. And you know, probably the differences here that, you know, you'll see compared to like the regular 300. So this rolled top collar, that's different, and then this pull loop. And I'm glad that we tested this out before we released it, because there's a little bit of a flaw here that where it's sewn in right here, where this backstay meets the pull loop, it kind of like bunches into your Achilles tendon. And so I'm glad that I tested that out first before we, you know, put anything together. But that was one of the reasons we removed that. And then this padded collar thing, you know, it didn't really add anything, honestly. It felt like it was almost kind of over the top. And so we ultimately removed that too. We wanted it to be a little bit more simple and a little bit more lightweight. And so that's why we removed that. But same gusseted tongue, same style of build with the 360 all the way around. These ones he did stitch through for me, but again, not necessarily as we saw with the other ones. I mean, the Christie sole does so well, it does not delaminate at all. So we removed that part too. And yeah, I mean, they are good boots. I wore them for a while. and he did a cool little stamp right there on the tongue for me. I wore them for a while just to kind of test them out and run them through. I remember the first impressions when I put them on was like, wow, so much lighter, you know, so much more nimble. They felt like more like a sneaker, closer to a sneaker than they did a boot. And that was one of the big things that was like, oh man, this is gonna be something big for us. This is gonna be something cool. And so we just kind of kept going down that road, kept perfecting it. The sizing on this is a 10 wide, okay? 10 wide. So we just talked about how my first pair was a 12E, okay? Then we jumped to an 11, another 11, and then these are a 10. You know, and so I was literally able to wear all those different sizes and be fine. It was okay. It wasn't anything, oh my God, it's so different, you know, and it's like so dramatic. Like I wore them, they worked. Because the differences here in the sizings are so small that I was even surprised. And you know, when you have a good quality product, good leathers, it breaks in well. You know, you can play with socks, play with insoles. Like sizing is not so scary. So just take that as an encouragement that, you know, it's hard for you to make a mistake when you're picking your size with your boots, and know that really you can play with a lot of different sizings and different sizes in general. So yeah, that's these. First pair of 300s, kind of cool. And you know, since that time, the 300s have been super popular. People love them. So if you haven't gotten a pair, get some. Really happy with that boot. Okay, this is one of my more recent pairs of boots that I've been wearing. This is our forefront, and with these ones actually I was testing a bit of a different sole design just to kind of see how they were. Very cool, very happy. We'll be actually releasing that soon. But very cool, these are awesome. I actually just kind of like, in a way, took them off the shelf, kind of, so to speak, and we just threw these soles on there. And I just, honestly, sometimes it's good for me too. Like I have my boots that I've been wearing for years, and are like broken in and like that I make and all that stuff. But I sometimes will just pull boots off the shelf random and put them on and see how they feel. Just because I want to be sure that the stuff that we're putting out is consistent with what I've been putting out all these years. And like I want to feel good about that because I want the experience to be so good for customers. And like I'll do that. And I kind of did that with these. And I mean, they were awesome. I was not surprised because I knew that it would be good. And that was a pleasant feeling to see and know that it's true. You know, you put them on, they're comfortable right away. They're comfy out of the box. The break-in is pretty much non-existent, and that's what I experienced with these ones. I wore these for a few months, and you know, I wore them, I would say, since like probably October-ish of 22 up until now, like every single day, you know, going on trips and stuff with them, and I mean, really, really happy. The sizing here is weird. These are a 9 wide. Okay, now my toe is up against the edge. That's for sure. And my toe was touching the end, and I had to wear thin socks with these ones. But like, I made it work. Like, it worked. That was what was so crazy to me. And no, it's not my preferred fit. I didn't like my toe up there against the edge. And I actually have put them away. I don't really wear them anymore. And I went back to my other boots that are more like a 10.5, 10. But I made it work. Like, it happened. And I wore them for a few months. And it was bearable. And so, again, let that just be like a, you know, light bulb moment. That it's crazy that sizing is so relative. It's so dependent upon the individual and the preferences of that individual. And that's just something that I've seen time and time and time again, over and over and over, that, you know, we'll be fitting somebody, and I've done this so many times. I'll fit somebody, they'll try one size, go to a second size, then a third size, then back to that first size, and then maybe to a fourth size. And it's like you've got 3 or 4 sizes in front of you, and it's almost kind of like they're all good. You know, and now it's just about, well, which one am I going to use for what? And so that's kind of, I think, the idea there. For example, wintertime, thick sock, these did not work. I had to wear thin socks with these ones, just because too small. My 12s that I wore, the pair that my dad first made me, those were 12E, I had to wear a thick sock and an insole in there. But it worked still, and it was comfy. It was good. You know, I made it work. So it's just kind of about what you're using and what you're needing. So that's these ones. Great boots. Sole is awesome. Really happy with these ones. And I'm especially happy with the redwood, how it patinas. I think it's a really cool look. Okay, final set. So this is what I'm wearing currently, right now. These are just an off-the-shelf pair of 300s. I absolutely love them. I've done some. I went on a 2.5 week globe trekking trip in these. You know, these have been overseas, and they performed extremely well. I literally got them. I pulled them off the shelf, and the next day I was in a plane flying overseas, and they were amazing from day one. Super comfortable. Literally no break-in. It was like getting a pair of sneakers. This is a 10.5 wide. Great size, super comfy, good width, good length. I love them. I've butchered sheep in these. I've went and gotten eggs from my chickens in these. I did gardening in these. I hiked another mountain here in Spokane in these. Haven't ridden my motorcycle in them yet. I've done bootmaking in these. I mean, just every day. Pretty much anything you can name, almost, I've been doing in these. I love them, so good. They did well with water. They did well with snow. They did well in the rain. They did well in the heat. They did well on pavement and concrete. They did well in the office. It's like really happy with these ones. And I can like take off running in these if I need to. Not that I've been chasing anybody, but like just so good, like so happy with these. And absolutely love them. These are going to be my long-time ones for a while. Soles are still doing good, and I'll probably resole them a few times until I have to get something else. So really happy with these ones. And it's funny that with all the heavy-duty boots that we make, I settled for a pair that was our most lightweight. And I think that's a testament to really picking the boots for you in your season. Like if you're a firefighter, do not get these. They're not going to work for you. You need the Inlander. If you're working heavy duty construction, you need the forefronts, the OTs, the Super Duties, whatever. For me, it was just kind of every day around town, in the office, in the shop work, and these work perfectly. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm so happy with them. And again, for sizing, 10.5 wide. I've worn 12s. I've worn 9s. I'm settling with 10.5. For me, it's the most comfortable. And so someone else might size me something different and convince me that, no, you're a 12, you're a 12, you're a 12. But for me, it's 10.5, and so that's what works good for me. So let that just be an encouragement to you guys, wear different boots, get multiple pairs. Pick one pair for one thing, another pair for another thing. Sometimes you just want one pair for a particular season, or a trip or something. And it just feels good to have more than one pair of boots. Try different sizes, experiment. I think that this thing about, one perfect size forever, there's an element of truth to that, but I don't think that's like a concrete law. It's okay for you to try a little bit of this and a little bit of that and experiment with what feels good. Also, your feet change. My foot at 15 is going to be a lot different probably than my foot at 23 and then my foot at 40. And so ultimately it's okay for me over the years to try different sizes, different widths, different lengths, and see what works best for me in that time, for that season, in that boot, for whatever I'm using it for. So that's a quick tour of all the boots that I have. There's a lot more to come. There's a few pairs that I didn't really show that were just kind of mess ups and whatever, but these are the main things that I've been wearing all these years since I was about 13, 14 years old. So thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. If you have anything else that you'd like to see, any other video ideas, comment below. We'd love to make it and show you guys around. Thanks again so much. See you next time.